Right. So when it comes to the OSI layer, now it's just about how information get transferred. Let's say you drop an email, Tar sends you an email. How do you receive it? How does it work at the background? And this is what it's all about, how the message is sent across, right? It's a conceptual model, right? And we're trying to understand this. So it's known as OSI layer because it's with 7 layers, right? Starting right at the top. The seventh layer is physical layer, application layer, presentation layer, session, transport, network, data, and physical. And you might wonder, okay, what's the easy way to remember this? And what I would tell you is, uh, rather than going with certain keywords and please do not throw pizzas away. There are things like this, but I would not recommend that. But it becomes easy as you start reading about it, as you start getting understanding of these models. It just becomes easy. Now, if you ask me, yes, I have been lecturing, but since I've been working, this is easy. So do not memorize this, but this is how it works, right? So the first layer is physical layer, then we have data link layer, network layer, transport, session, presentation, and application. So these are 7 layers. And we're trying to see, and we're going to try and understand how these layers work, right? One by one. Right. And also, as we speak of this layer, we also need to understand the term called protocols. Protocols are certain things that both two different parties agree. They have a common understanding. So I speak in English and you understand English so that we can communicate. I speak in English and you speak in Spanish and you don't speak in English. We are not able to communicate. Likewise, protocols are a set of rules which is agreed upon before we begin with communications, right? And so that is basically protocols. And when you look at this OSI layer, there's something called encapsulation and decapsulation that takes place, right? Okay, what's encapsulation? Let me show you. OSI, right? Let me show you. Right, this is what encapsulation means, right? When data gets sent, right, from one layer to another layer, I want to get a nice picture, right? Okay, this is better, right? Right, if you look at this picture, when data is sent across from application presentation, right, we'll see what these layers are, but it keeps coming down. So every layer it comes, there's one thing that keeps adding on, right? So when it comes from application to presentation, something extra added. This is not a great diagram. Let me find something else, right? Encapsulation. Okay, this is not bad, but this is in another language. This is better, right? If you look at this now here in the image here, what happens is that when data travels from the top layer to the bottom layer, so every layer it comes down, there's only one packet added here, right? If you look here, there's two, and here three, and it goes on. So as it comes, the current layer information header is being added onto that packet, and that's how it keeps sending. So this we call encapsulation, adding information as it goes down the layer. Whereas there's something called decapsulation, which happens the other way around. So once it reaches a physical layer, which is where the data travels through cables. So once it gets to the other side of the PC, right, it decapsulates. So this takes this information as it goes. The next one, data link takes its information, then the network layer takes in information. Whatever that was added here is taken off as it goes up, right? So this is the process of this is the understanding of encapsulation and decapsulation. What you just need to know is that encapsulation is a process of adding, headers keeps adding as it goes down different layers, where decapsulation means as we go right to the bottom and go up again, the information gets stripped off, the header gets stripped off on the appropriate layer. So that is known as encapsulation and decapsulation, right? um, does that make sense, guys? Are you guys okay? right?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Right. And what you might wonder, what is this information, right? When packets do get sent across from different layers, there are different information that needs to be added, because at the end of the day, the idea is that when information is sent across from one PC to another, right, information has to travel. So it needs a lot of information to get across. And this is what the information is being added on that headers, right? And that is what, okay. Right. I'm trying to put it in very simple terms just for you guys to get it. Right. Okay. Right, now let's looking at the layers. Now let's get back to our thing. Okay, let's go back to our, okay, this OSI layer, because we are going to be spending a lot of time on this. Right. Right. Okay. Now when you look at this layer, now how the data is called in different layers, they have different name, right? In application layer, the data is known as data stream. In presentation layer, it's known as data stream. And I think, again, I'm not happy with this picture. Let me see if I can find something that has everything, so that it's really really easy, and it will be easy for you guys to focus as well. This, no, some have something and the others don't have. There is a problem. What have everything has everything that I want. Okay, no, that's not that one. Okay, it's not the greatest, but we'll just take this for the time being, because I don't want to be spending time on this, right? If you look at this, right? Okay, so these are the 7 layers. Now if you see how this data is what gets sent across on these layers, right? So how they're known as, the data is known as data stream, right? It's known, actually should be data stream. So application layer, presentation layer, session layer, on all these 3 layers, data is known as data stream. That's how we relate data. So when it gets to transport, we call them segment. That is how the data is known as. Different names are given at different layers. And when it comes to network layer, it's known as packets. And a data link layer, frames. And physical layer, bits. Because physical layer, it's about transformation, which the information gets sent across through cables. So it's known as bytes, right? Bits, right? So in data link layer, frames. Network layer, packets, right? Transport layer, segment. And on the all top 3 layers, we known as data stream. So this is how data is known at different layers. Something for you to just know, right? Okay, like I said before, uh, right. Okay, right. So let's go from right from the top to the bottom, or bottom to top is okay. So let's go from physical layer, right? That's the first layer. Now that is, when you say physical layer, it accepts things from the data link layer, right? And I think coming from the top will be easier, so that will give you better, right? Application layer. Now when I say application layer, I'm sure you guys know what application means. Applications are things that you use. It can be a browser, it can be your email client, it could be any of that, right? It's an application that as a user you have interaction with. So in order to make those applications to be available, now you might wonder, when you just click on browser, the browser opens up, and you go to your Microsoft client, the Outlook opens, right? But what makes this application available is the protocols. There are protocols behind that makes it available, right? Without those protocols, none of these things will work. Now, if you take browser itself, there's a protocol called HTTP and HTTPS, right? Now, that is required. If you take port 80, right? Right. So you guys, so, okay, let me tell you, right? So protocols, these protocols is the one that makes this application, that makes it available, right? Okay, let's look at some other things now. Let's take so you might have heard things like SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, which is which works in terms of transferring emails. Then we have HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTPS, the secure one, right? So there's various protocol that works, right? And yeah, SMTP. Now, have you heard of HTTP and HTTPS, guys? Have you heard of it? Do you know the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? Have you seen a green icon or a green padlock icon on browsers? Do you know what the difference mean? The difference between HTTP and HTTPS is? Any of you? No, right? Guys, I'm sure you know, but not sure if you're not able to, explain that. But when you say HTTP, we don't see a padlock sign, right? When you see the top browser, now if you look at this now on the top, now I'm just on Google, but still, can you see there's a padlock sign, right? Connection secure, right? If I click on more, it says about the certificate, view certificate, right? So which means, um, so this tells me that this is a secure site, because what you, let's say that whatever that I type in and I send to the server of this site will be encrypted, right? That is the idea behind. If you take it Yahoo, Facebook, if you take any of them, it's the same thing. If you take Yahoo, see there's HTTPS. Sometimes you find this green icon, right? So the understanding is that, so when you see that, this is okay. Now let's say you find a site without HTTPS and you have only HTTP, and it's an e-commerce site. Do you think it's wise to do transactions? Do you think it's wise to purchase something on that site? Guys, are you there?
I didn't catch the question, sir. Could you repeat it?
Yeah. And what I was saying is, now let's say that you're trying to purchase something online. So when you're trying to purchase something online and you go to a particular site, and that site does not have HTTPS, it has only HTTP. So in that case, will you be purchasing anything from that site?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Right. So I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. Because the reason is that when there's only HTTP, that means the information between the client and server, because this website has to send information to where it's hosted on a server, right? So there's an interaction between client and server, and unless there's a certificate, digital certificate here, sorry, there's a SSL certificate here, the information that you send across when you click on send or when you purchase something, it goes in plain text, which means if anyone is monitoring the traffic of your network or where you are, right, if they can actually see things in plain text, therefore the information can be stolen and used for various purposes. So this is why we depend on secure websites. And if you take most of the sites in today's world have SSL certificates, that's purely because uh, also to tell people, yes, we we take security seriously. We want to maintain confidentiality of customers data, and also when you have HTTPS, you do well, you do better in search engine, you come, I mean, you do well in terms of the ranking, right? So these are the reasons, right? Let's go back again. So these are some of the protocols that I said: HTTP and HTTPS, right? Okay, now you know the difference